not actually like real freaking units that you would logically have anything to do with. So the X scalar is going to be 80. My scalar is going to be 1024 divided by 24. It's going to be 42.6. So the y should be 56. Why should the y be 56? Because so it's going to be, by scale it's going to be 80, so it's going to be like 72 divided by 80? 72, yeah, divided by 80 is going to be our actual x. It's going to be 0.9. Alright, so that is true. Our x is 0.9. So what should this actually be dividing by to get it's 80, and then we take the x value. Output is 70. So we have 0.9. 0.9 needs to be so 80 is going to be this. So if we do like 72 divided by 42.6, we get 1.69, which is not right. We need to if we did 0.42, 42.6 times 0.9, is it 42.6 divided by 0.9? No, that's not 56 either. So none of these numbers are really doing what we want. Like, we basically want a number that when we divide it by, it's like, basically it should be 56 divided by x equals this thing. Equals 0.9. So it should be 56 divided by 56 times 0.9. So we need to get somehow 50.4 out of this value. So how do we get 50.4 is our question, because we need to take 0.9 and we need to multiply it. We need to have 50.4 and we need need to divide it by 0.9. Because that's our x. We'll have to figure it out. Which one of our numbers? Rect 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now. Thank you for following. Now we're trying to figure out why with our drawing. Basically, we're getting the wrong coordinates, the wrong positions for things. We're getting the correct coordinates for our pivot, but it looks like there's something wrong with our... It may be that we're actually correct in our y coordinate, but we're wrong with our x coordinate. So our x coordinate is incorrect, is what it's probably going off of here. So everything else is fine, it's just the x is wrong. So it's going to be our x coordinate. So this scene resolution x divided by this multiplied by our f of x here is our value, which is our position x, which is going to be 0.9 times 80 right now, which is going to be this 72. So we need to figure out how to compute this correct value, which is 50.4. So it's basically like 80 divided by 50 is going to be 1.6. So I mean, is there just like 1.6 is another magic number here for this thing? So we're going to do like var g x constant is going to be like 1.6, and what we do is we just multiply this thing by 1.6, and that fixes it. Seems like it's kind of a complete hack, piece of crap. That would at least move us properly. And that might actually not be an awful magic number, because these animations work in fill units, which are not actual real physical units. They're more units that would be used for classic animation, where they're like 4x3 or something, and it's based on... You measure things based on how much area they take up, not by how big they are in the x and y. So something that's x number of fill units can be big, big narrow bar, or it can be an actual like other thing or something like that. I don't know. It has something to do with paying people. Blame Disney for that. I don't. Adam would know what I'm talking about. I really don't know what I'm talking about. So let's take a look here and see if it fixes what we needed to fix. The x is -45, so it's a little bit too much. Maybe it is just 1.33. It's just 4 divided by 3. Is that what we're going to get? Might actually be correct. It's a little bit off. It's a little bit off. Good luck with your collision boxes. Yeah, thank you, Sinocron. We'll finagle it in there. Good luck with your econ class. That's a Friday class then. Yeah. It is actually Friday now. It was one of the things, as soon as like senior year rolled around in college, started having Tuesday parties, and we had like early morning graphics class on Wednesday, and just halfway through the semester, basically nobody showed up to the graphics class anymore because everybody was just always hungover Wednesday morning. Just one of those things. So yeah, we're negative 54. It's close. So that's going to be 1.06, and if we do 0.9, it's like 106. Yeah, it's 0.9, what, divided by 106? 106 divided by 0.9. It's our 72? Divided by 106.64. Because we had, alright, so it needs to be 56 divided by 56 divided by 0.9, we should be getting 62. So we're getting 80 divided by 1.3 is 60. So it's going to be 80 divided by 1.2, 66. So we should be 56 divided by 0.9, we should be 62. 62, so 80 divided by 1.3 is 61. 80 divided by 1.4 is 57. 80 divided by 1.2 is 66. 80 divided by 1.3 is 62. 80 divided by 1.32333 is 60. So it's 80 divided by 1.25 is 64. 80 divided by 1.29 is 62. So it's 1.29. Should get us close enough. You don't need to know actual math to do math. That's the trick. Yeah, so it's negative 55.8. One 2.8 divided by 2 is 56.4. So it's 56.4 divided by 0.9, which is 62.6667. So it should be 1.27 0.27659 is what we should be seeing. We're watching frames render, we're watching things compile. It seems like we watch a lot of progress bars. At least I watch a lot of progress bars in my life. So it's 56.4, that is the correct value. So let's go re-import FATSEC. Take a closer look at them. So that is actually looking proper. That's what we wanted. Our foreground tree. Get the fuck out of here. Whoops. Let's see, show collision. That looks correct. Alright, let's connect the source control, of course. Connect back to it. So we'll save our level. And we'll reconcile our FATSEC data. Alright. So with FATSEC fixed, we can now actually do a few things with them. So one of the things we need to do actually is to I'm gonna rig up a few of the obstacles. That is something I need to do. So let's get started with that. So let's see, do we have any actual obstacles? You've got like some stumps and some other stuff like that. A log. Yeah, so why don't we rig up a couple of these guys? So let's go ahead and make a new folder here. We're gonna call it obstacles, or we'll just call it game objects, or just maybe, yeah, let's just call it obstacles. We'll keep it simple. I did not spell obstacles properly. So inside of obstacles, we're gonna need a few things. So why don't we grab yeah, he is materials, obstacles, that's not so. Why don't we grab a stump or two? Let's grab a mushroom and log. And is this just a rock? What the fuck is this thing? I guess it's just a rock, so we'll grab a rock as well. We're gonna copy them. And then we're basically gonna test out, because all of our characters we're doing the rigging inside of Harmony, as you saw earlier, but for the actual obstacles we're gonna need more precise collision on them, and the obstacles aren't animated. They're just, you know, like obstacles there. So what we want to do is we want to use the paper 2D rigging stuff, and we want to create like a good thing for this. And I think basically when we do edit collision, there's a way to do this. Yeah, so we just go over and we select shrink wrap. And let's just see if this works. Like, you know, let's just chuck a thing right here and put it in our world. And let's also go to its collision, and we're gonna say that its collision preset is there terrain? Yeah, terrain. And let's take a look at that. Let's see if it works in the game. That's a puffball. Yes, it's a puffball. Alright. So if we show our collision, you can see we can run right along it real nicely, right? Like, we can't jump up it though. That's what it looks like. Oh yeah, that's our minimum height to jump. And let's make this thing a little bit bigger. You know, maybe like a big kind of thing sticking out of the ground. As you can see, we can run along it pretty nicely. You know, if you're a bitey and you just run along it, we can't just mantle up on top of it, which is so you'd like be running and then just slam into it. But that's not too bad. So we can just do shrink wrap on the objects, and it should work pretty well. See if we blow this thing up way big, what sort of problems we see. And yeah, we see basically when it gets blown up pretty big that its collision is inflated. It looks like a little bit wrong. So let's see if there's a way to select like everything and maybe scale it. Like we can move everything, but I can't just scale it down? If you could do tight bounding box, shrink wrapped. Yeah, alright, so maybe if we set the shrink wrap to 0? The extrusion thickness of collision geometry when using a 3D collision object. The extrusion distance. Doesn't seem to do much. That should be, I guess. Yeah, it's a polygon. Well, this is just a little bit too far out, isn't it? Like we zoom in there, like it's close, but it's not tight enough. So let me think. Well, why don't we try a few other things real quick, as in a few other objects, and see if they have the same problem. So let's open up like our stump here. Let's see, let's tell it to, we're going to edit the collision and we're going to give it to shrink wrap it. What's it do? It creates this, and it again looks like it is a little bit too far out from the actual object. Because like it should be, you know, like you'd expect it to be tighter to the object. Well, in this case, I can't really do that. I can't really just blame everything on Adam. He didn't write Paper 2D. So the question is, should we just go full or like custom stuff? You know, like basically when we edit one of these guys, we're just like, okay, give me a tight bounding box, and then what you do is you just or should I just do it myself and just like delete these and just be like add polygon and just alright, let's read the instructions. Click to add a point to the polygon. Double click to add a point and close the shape. Click again on the first point and press enter. Press backspace to remove the last point. So if we just click to add a point, we just do click, click. But why did it complete the shape? Thank you, Nechi, for following. We're just we're working on figuring out exactly why. You know, like we're trying to figure out what's going on with this collision stuff. So Paper 2D has collision box geometry. Maybe I am going in the wrong direction. Like maybe it expects you to go clockwise with your points. Yeah, okay, that does make sense, I guess. Can we snap our points? Is there anything like that? No. and we can just undo one. So we can just draw these things on here nicely. Is what it looks like. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see how that actually translates into the game here. Can you change the amount of points in the shrink wrap? I didn't see any of those things. Yeah, and it looks like this is much tighter. Of course, this thing is blown up real big, so you know we can. Just stupid fucking trees, Jesus Christ! I was sticking all these things on here just to mess around yesterday. It's just a freaking mess. No, I can't change the number of points on the shrink wrap. At least I didn't see any option to do that. So it's real clear that with and I can just run right over it. It looks like there are some issues with we've changed the mantling stuff, and it's all not proper. So that's why he's getting stuck on a few things, because he's like trying to walk up a surface that he can't really walk up because things aren't tuned properly anymore. So yeah, I think that's pretty much how we should be rigging these objects is... Can I add something? Shift click to insert a vertex. So I can kind of add vertices as we go along here. Can I snap? Scale snap? Set the position of the grid. Maybe we should snap to... I'm trying to see if I can make like a perfectly vertical thing on this. Because if I do, yeah, if I go over here to shrink wrapped, it just there's no options on this thing. It's just what do you want it to be? You know, collision geometry, pixels for subdivision. I guess maybe we could change the shrink wrap. No, that doesn't do anything. Oh, I guess, yeah, okay, you can do a few things. Interesting. Yeah, okay, so yeah, you're totally right, Plankton. There are little things we can do here. Well, let's see how this looks then. And, you know, that just very much goes to show I don't know what I'm doing, but I am very willing to, you know, double check and look. And yeah, you know, that looks real cool. This thing's all blown up. And while that looks like quite a bit of collision geometry on there, it's probably not that bad. You know, like, it's a platformer, right? Like, we might need that level of collision detail. The question is, of course, if this is too much in terms of detail. So let's like reset all of our stuff here, and we go shrink wrapped, and then we do our alpha threshold. I think was like That's still not exactly really what I want. I don't want super insane collision geometry hulls. Multi-point systems, CAD's paid off. Because I think it's still a little bit too much. Yeah, it's not tight enough unless you give it, you know, a ridiculous detail amount. So I guess maybe what we could do, select one or more vertex and press delete. I mean, we could basically just go through and delete verts. So if we set like our simplify our detail amount to like 0.8, maybe there's a good middle ground to like start with, and then you could kind of shrink wrap it to start with, and then move stuff around, kind of like just get rid of stuff that we don't need and kind of clean it up. Maybe is that anywhere near viable? It's not awful, but it's not great. Like, I think at this point we might be, like, if I have to go around the whole frickin' thing to simplify the collision geometry to be satisfied that it's correct, then I might as well just draw it to begin with. Yeah, so I'm not satisfied. I think just going through like this is easier. And generates a simpler convex hull for the object. That's better. Of course I press escape and I should be double clicking. That's just control. That's just control familiarity. And we can just yeah, so I think that works. And as you can see, like the frame rate's a little bit higher. Obviously, that having so many verts on that collision object was just a big problem. So let's work up a few of these things. So it's pretty clear what we should be doing is you create an object and you just go into edit collision and you just add a polygon. Controls are a little finicky. Yeah, so that should be fine. And this guy is just all sorts of screwed up. Probably want something that looks like... something looks like that. Oh man, I'm moving my mouse like the whole distance, and that's as far as it goes for scaling. That sucks. Alright. Is that what we want for this sort of thing? I think this should be kind of... It's going to be kind of a pain in the ass to jump if that's like that, so we kind of just... Might be better to have something like this. This art's awful. What are you talking about? This is the worst. I was going over ways to actually rig up some of these objects, so I'll give an example here. If we do, this is just one of the sprites that you've got, right? If we go ahead and we try the collision geometry stuff with shrink wrapped, right, it'll automatically do these sorts of things like this for us. And you know, we can like increase the detail amount and it'll get a tighter box, and we can also say like the alpha threshold is like 0.25 and it'll try to wrap closer to the object. But it's a lot of frickin' geometry, so the shrink wrap actually is, what we found was not super good. So what you do is you go to add polygon and you have to draw clockwise, and you just click to add your collision points, and you just go around the object. And you get a much better simplified collision just by doing this. Than anything else, and you can basically click on one of these lines or the verts themselves and kind of adjust them later if you need. So stuff like that, I think, is what we want to be doing for creating obstacles. Also, welcome to the stream, Adam. You are our top tier, so we of course absolutely love your company at all times. Yeah, and this is the reason we're not using this per each like animation or something is because you'd have to do this literally for every friggin' frame of the animation. There's no good way to do it. So kind of annoying. So we've rigged up a couple of these objects, so let's go throw them out here. And also I made it so you can just drag stuff in there, just like that. Yeah. What's wrong with that stump? Getting stuck on it for some reason. Yeah, it must be some of our movement code is messed up there. Yeah, and it looks like it's really important to make sure that the collision boxes are inside of the objects there. And having little feet on things doesn't look like works too well. So let's take a look. We'll have to, I think, change a few of the movement object parameters. Is there a mantle somewhere here? Mantle height 20, mantle iterations. Yeah, well, you know, I'm just throwing it in there right now to see what it looks like. Yeah, so he's literally just getting stuck inside of those objects, which is going to be one of our bumps up in our global utils, probably. Yeah, it also looks like, Adam, when you recreated the collision objects for rigging inside of Harmony, that the scale got reset to not 1.89 but to like 1.41. So probably not something you could have avoided, most likely. But we're going to have to test on some other things to see if that constant's the same across all files. Because it should be. It was with the other rigging objects. Which, the reason why it would have changed is because you changed it in a file. When you made the new rigging objects, probably the scene resolution and whatever was different than the original one that I made it in. You know, the scene resolution combined with the units, combined with whatever the hell Harmony feels like doing at the time. Which I think if you were going to make them and it was going to be identical, it would have had to have been made inside of the test character harmony file that I originally made them inside of. So it doesn't matter, just little things. But I also had some scaling issues screwed up there where the X was not getting multiplied properly. There was another magical value which we found it was 1.276. And that's the amount that the scalar and the X that it is incorrect by in harmony. It's just like, god damn it, fucking harmony math. Need to have like a blog post about like just math that's wrong with harmony, and why you should hate all animators for coming up with a different unit system than reality. What even is a fill unit? I don't even. What is this? Macedon, yeah. We'll just have the blog will just be just an endless stream of bitching about harmony math. People will stop reading it entirely because it's just like, well, what's this week? Oh yeah, it's just another bunch of shit about harmony. So he's getting stuck here, so we're gonna have to go back to debugging our movement a little bit. See what's going on here. So our normal, like our collision, was we hit the impact normal was in the z-axis to straight up in the z, so that's good. So our slide normal should be. No, wait, what? Our impact normal was straight up, so why is our slide normal? Find best slide normal? Okay, and I guess we're... So current velocity is 0. Our motion direction, but yeah, we're just returning and all that stuff. So why was this? So it's like our slide normal was, our collision was correct, and then we moved ourselves to the left and right and all that stuff, and we came up with the impact point was that the normal of that was again straight up, and the hit impact normal here is again straight up. Okay, so our slide normal is correct. Okay, well, that's fine. I'm not... The current velocity is just not... Not anything, it's not getting there. Well, let's print out our velocity, because our velocity is probably... We're not getting it. It's not a traverse thing, which is interesting. It's a slippery slope thing that's screwing us up probably. So how is everybody's Friday going? So far we're an hour into mine, and we are back to movement bugs. Which is fine, that's what we're trying to work on. Movement is this whole game, so I expect we'll be tinkering with movement stuff probably until we ship. You know, like, that's just gonna be reality. And maybe we want to get rid of a lot of the velocity change crap with sliding down slopes. We might just want to have slopes that we just say, like, you know, tick a box or something, like you slip on this thing, you know, as opposed to having a slidable slope value and all this other stuff. Current velocity and direction is 3000. Then y is our yes, I fully expect that as well.